Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about the unfolding winter storm across the country. It is currently taking shape across the southern US, and it's delivering snow across Texas and Oklahoma mainly, and it will continue to do so really intensely across the next 24 hours. Really, I'm recording this at 6:02 p.m. and as you're watching this, it's really starting to get underway and will overnight really ramp up the snowfall rates. So we'll be talking about that, what's its next move, this next storm, where it goes, and whether or not the Northeast will get in on this, where in the Midwest the heaviest snow will fall, what the models are saying. All of that good stuff is upcoming in today's video, so please consider liking this video. Please consider subscribing to this channel. If you like the video, that helps this channel out, and if you're a consistent viewer, please do so. If you're not consistent, this is your first video perhaps, check out my channel, check out my other videos, see if it's worthy of a subscription, and really do consider doing so. So thank you for that. Let's look at the 60006, and let's start looking at the GFS model, Global Forecasting System. That's what it stands for. And let's look at it. So right now we have a pretty large area of precipitation, mainly in the form of rain, in the form of liquid across the Ohio Valley into the Ozarks and extending all the way to the Gulf Coast of the United States. Nothing too heavy really, some light to moderate rain with a little bit of snow on the northern side of it and a little bit of ice as well across the northern Ohio area. Now, this is where things really get ramped up. So notice that we start getting across, we move into the forward time frame, and we really start seeing the snow develop across Texas and Oklahoma. So this storm is basically right centered across New Mexico. It's showing it a little bit further to the south, but it will drop down into Texas and really get this band of very heavy to moderate snow started, and up to a foot of snow is possible in parts of mid-central, central northern Texas. Without a doubt, up to a foot. The snow will be falling very heavily, very quickly, and the National Weather Service shows up to a foot of snow possible across certain locations, a little bit south and west of Wichita Falls. Really seems to get the bullseye out of that. Some locations may be getting snow that haven't gotten it in over 3 years, and they may be seeing their first snow in 3 years in a big fashion, in a big manner. There could be a pretty large event, obviously. And you can see that we go forward. This really quickly diverts its energy to the northern portion of the U.S., where we see central Illinois, well, relatively northern U.S., the central U.S., north of where it was originally. You can see Illinois, Missouri, Indiana getting that snow, and pretty heavy rain to the south, especially across Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. System located across central Tennessee at around late Wednesday afternoon, so around 7 to 8 early evening, and you can see this low pressure is sitting right here, spinning counterclockwise, as all low pressures do, and this is escalating a lot of precipitation to come into the United States and override into that cooler air, which then transitions it to snow if that cold layer is deep enough. And you can see for these locations it is deep enough. Now, this won't be the most impressive deformation band we've seen so far this year, but it seems like the band of snow will be definitely pretty powerful, definitely enough to drop up to half a foot of snow across certain locations. Notice this at rapid speed moves into the northern U.S., or not northern, well, into the northeast. It moves quickly north, and you can see parts of Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, even parts of Iowa getting in on some of the snow, and into the northeast, quite a bit of ice as well. You can see freezing rain and sleet, and southern Michigan, northern Indiana, eastern Illinois will get in on some of the snow. This passes through, and you can see that there is still a huge slug of moisture to the south, and it's a second low pressure develops, while this one that was across central Tennessee late Wednesday moves off into the northeast and really weakens, delivering this extended band of snow across the northern U.S., while this low pressure across North Carolina, almost a coastal low, drives right up. And let me show you what this low pressure does. it delivers a second batch of snow. It moves straight up, and behind it, there's a lot of cold air that wraps in and transitions a lot of that rain to some pretty moderate snow, and you can see that affects parts of the Northeast, and it moves off into Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. Also, I want to bear in mind, that Saturday we may be looking at a clipper relatively far south across the United States, Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia. Earlier, the models are showing a pretty potent storm across the Northeast out of this, and now they have backed off. But with those two systems combined, with that clipper and this storm, we are looking at some decent snowfall amounts, to say the least. You can see, especially across the Northeast, it seems there will be quite a significant event, especially once you get into Maine and into Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. Notice across Texas, there's a hotspot right here. The GFS may be even underestimating some of these snowfall amounts. If you were to look at this, you could see up to a foot. Well, her model, the higher resolution model that updates every single hour, is showing well over a foot in some of these locations. Very isolated in nature, but it's definitely there. Notice the snow further up north across the Midwest is very widespread. It's not too heavy, but it's a very widespread. So we get 4 inches from basically the Missouri-Kansas border all the way into Canada, and that is 4, 5, 6 inches widespread, including into parts of Illinois, Chicago area, St. Louis, northern Indiana, South Bend, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Toledo, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. All those cities could be getting a pretty good snow out of this. Let's quickly look at the northeastern United States with its snowfall amounts. You can see the coastal areas, we won't really be seeing that much. Pennsylvania, widespread 3 to 5 inches. But then notice once you get into New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, we get into Vermont, New Hampshire, we get into some significant amounts, 13, 15, 16, up to 20 inches in parts of eastern Maine, eastern northern Maine, and that is really not out of the question, especially since this second wave that's going to be coming through is really what's going to be delivering that punch. The second low that develops off North Carolina. Notice this is the Canadian. You can see it's a little bit less amounts, but it's more widespread across more of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, into parts of Massachusetts and Maine. You can see 8 inches plus. So that is a pretty healthy event of snow. Nothing record-breaking, but it is a powerful system nonetheless. Look at the Midwest. You could see also a pretty nice band across Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, into northern Illinois, into southern Michigan, northern Indiana, northern Ohio. Let's look at parts of Texas with the Canadian model. You can see it also has that bullseye, says up to 17 inches. I don't know if 17 will fall, but I'll definitely say that a possibility of over a foot is going to be across those locations. That possibility seems pretty strong. You could see that moves into Oklahoma City with a little bit lighter amounts, but definitely still significant enough to cause a winter storm warning. This is now the NAM model, the NAM 12KM. If you were to look at this, these amounts are overdone in my opinion. I wouldn't say maybe overdone for these areas, but definitely for Oklahoma and Missouri and into Illinois. There could be some 5-inch amounts, maybe some 6-inch amounts, but not so widespread as is what this model is showing. And you can see it's a wide swath and it's pretty well developed, but the NAM has a little bit of a cold bias, so sometimes it produces a little bit more snow than expected. You can see northern Indiana into southern Ohio. Southern Indiana would deliver quite a bit of snow. At this point, the NAM this model probably has the worst handle, but I mean it's still generally similar, where parts of the mid-country, Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma will be seeing the heaviest. And while the coastal areas of the Northeast say we'll be seeing later amounts, but inland locations will be seeing heavy. So that's pretty consistent, right? Let's look at the HRRR model. This one is a high resolution model. It looks at the satellite data that comes in every single hour, or that's constantly coming in, and it really updates every single hour. Let's look at what Let's look at what it does with the total, or with the radar in the next several hours for the south central United States. So right now, we're basically looking at not much precipitation going on. If you were to look at the radar at this minute, 6 o'clock. Notice, though, that this low pressure, again, centered across northern New Mexico, a little bit further west, you can see it really cranks up and really profound area of precipitation, very heavy snow, not a lot of ice or rain, a little bit of sleet, but this is very heavy snow, 1 to 2 inches of snow per hour. This will be falling late tonight into early tomorrow morning, and you can see this moves into Oklahoma City, moves into central northern Texas. Just out of these 18 hours, which the event isn't fully done, you can see that the snowfall amounts are pretty impressive, easily up to 6 inches. And if we were to look at the whole event, which we could go back to the 18Z model run, which it takes into account the whole event and moves it further up north, you would notice that the amounts are pretty staggering, up to 13, 14, 15 inches in some locations. And this actually moves some heavy snow into parts of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 6, 8, 10 inches, not out of the question. Now that I'm looking at this, the NAM may be doing a little bit better of a job than previously thought, as the HRRR model is usually very highly regarded and usually looked at for last minute decisions by the meteorologists, these type of models. So I will show you the European model next. Usually the European model for these type of events is not used not for these type of events. I meant to say at this time frame out from this event, less than 24 hours. Usually, the GFS, the European aren't looked at for last minute updates. But this is what the European has. You can see it has pretty heavy snow across parts of Texas and Oklahoma, which was pretty consistent. You notice this moves it into northern Indiana and Illinois and develops a band of snow across the Illinois area, but it's really weak for the Chicago area and into northern Indiana. Weaker than thought, but previously thought, but that's, again, that's the European model. It has been a little bit jumpy, has been jumping around quite a bit. We'll see. Maybe a little bit weaker, maybe a little bit stronger. National Weather Service is a little bit conflicted on that as well, as the lower confidence is in place. Notice the Northeast gets a pretty good thud of snow out of this. Vermont, New Hampshire, probably initial 5, 6 inches, and then we see that second low pressure developing off the East Coast, really cranking into snow amounts and really nicely gliding off the coast with some pretty significant snow amounts. Notice the European with this clipper on Saturday includes quite a bit of Tennessee and Kentucky with some heavier snow. So I'll show you that as well. Let's look at the total accumulated snowfall. And again, the European only updates twice a day. Or once a day, really, twice a day. Once at midnight, once at noon. And notice that this puts out quite a bit of snow across these locations. I think it's a little bit underdone. I seriously think that these locations will see a lot of snowfall out of this. We've seen that in the past event, and I think we'll see that again. The past event was in the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. Now it's a little bit further to west. Notice they get a pretty darn good snow system out of this in the Northeast. Widespread foot plus in the purple area. Anywhere in the darker, I should say more maroon colors, a foot plus. In that purple area, it's 6 inches plus. And now look at Kentucky and eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky. You could see 4 to 5 inches out of this weekend system. Notice the European model keeps plenty of snow chances with another system early next week at this time occurring across the northern U.S. possibly. So plenty of snow, plenty of things to talk about, but yet again, this system will be very, very strong and potent. If we were to look at the winter storm warnings, the Weather Ready Nation map, you can see a lot of winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories across the country. Let's quickly look at the northern Texas, southern Oklahoma area. The snowfall amounts, you can see they put in 6 to 8, even possibly up to 10 inches across northern Texas, which I think will be definitely a thing, will be definitely possible, as snowfall amounts will be pretty significant. You can see 3 to 7, 1 to 3. Snowfall rates will be heavy. Let's look at Oklahoma City, currently under a winter storm warning, and you can see that it shows 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches. So definitely a significant event heading your way. So stay tuned to your local National Weather Service. Keep your eyes on the sky, keep your eyes to the radar, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.